Hello and welcome everyone. Hello to folks just joining in. And I hope you have been enjoying the summit so far. For folks who were in previous session, the morning was full of ideas, and I will assure you this session will be full of ideas as well as we welcome Christy as today's speaker, a very energetic speaker and a very cool teacher. So you're here to learn quite a bit. Just a few reminders for folks who need captioning. At the very bottom of the Zoom screen, you can enable captions. You will also see the Q&A box where you can ask any questions for our speakers. We will have some time at the end for questions. These sessions, like in our classrooms, the more we put in, the more we take out. So I encourage you to ask questions, to share thoughts in the chat. There will be multiple opportunities. Tell us, what do you do in your own classroom? How does this apply to you? We're all here to learn from one another. Today's sessions, we will tackle the intersection between AI and social emotional learning. And Christy, she'll talk about how to harness AI to enhance SEL skills and also to create an inclusive learning environment. So tune in, take notes, and Christy, floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying the summit so far. I know I have. I am Christy, and I am an instructional coach for the Jackson School District, grades 6 through 12. I am also the SEL coordinator for the 2 high schools in my district. And I've kind of done a lot of, different work along the way to get where I'm at with SEL and AI and inclusive practices. But I am super excited to be here today. And the fact that, hold on one second, because Lil, it's not letting me advance. And I'm not sure why. It was doing it before and now it's not.
Maybe try resharing, Christy. Yeah.
No, one click on it and then use the arrow keys.
The arrow buttons. You gotta love, there we go. I was like, there you go. I'm like, I had used the arrow buttons like Aram was telling me. So, it's tech. So we're always going to, have issues with tech when we first start. And this is why we start early. So like I was saying a little bit about me, I'm really into SEL. You can see from my specialty courses that I love AI, SEL, and that's not a natural pairing. So we are going to talk about that, where a lot of people are like, oh my God, you're an English teacher. Isn't this like the death of your career? No, it's not. It's just a nice, exciting revolution and evolution of tools that we're going to be using to better connect with students. That's the way that I'm looking at it. So today we're going to focus on the benefits and drawbacks of generative AI. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I'm assuming that within the past year, you've been doing a lot of reading, and the fact that you are at a summit that is talking all about AI, that you're kind of in the know. We're going to talk about how AI can be leveraged for more inclusion in our classrooms and to enhance well-being. We obviously know that we're in a mental health crisis with our adolescents. So anything that we can do, any tools as educators that we can use to help them, we need to take advantage of it. And we're going to talk about the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how AI can address the unique needs of students from diverse backgrounds, socioeconomic and otherwise. All right, so, we had ChatGPT kind of hit us like in 2022, 2023, people started paying a little more attention to it. And now in 2024, it's exploded. So the general strengths of generative AI is that it really can personalize learning for students and cater to their individual needs. It provides real-time feedback through chat box, online tutors, where it can improve their learning outcomes. So it helps academically. And it helps the educators out there with prioritizing time management and kind of getting rid of the minutia that's in education, like some of the things that are tedious, not difficult to do. It can really help, with that. Obviously, the main weaknesses, and again, right now I stress this, I'll say this a lot. This is the worst AI we're ever going to see. It's only getting better, and literally day by day it gets better. I keep up on all of the readings. I get like 20 emails a day on what's going on with Gemini versus OpenAI, the antitrust lawsuits, the whistleblower laws. So there's some things we definitely need to consider with AI, But again, that's any type of new technology. Doing the reading, when calculators came out, people were like, oh my God, I can only imagine what people said when dictionaries came out. So, with AI, we're going to take it the bull by the horns, and we're going to harness it as a powerful tool to better connect our students to each other, to themselves, and to us. The weaknesses, though, we definitely got to address that. Obviously, since this is the worst AI we're going to see, it's not so great with the complexity of being a human. So looking at our complex emotions, social cues are definitely going to limit it right now. But I've already seen advancements within 6 months of some of the glitches that were brought in by robots in a classroom. They've already fixed them. So that's pretty amazing to me. There's always that risk of bias and misinformation, which is why we need to teach digital literacy and make sure kids at any age understand. I'm hoping with all of the tumultuous change that we had due to the pandemic and all of the movements that came out, during the time of the pandemic with Me Too and Black Lives Matter, that, this generation is more aware of what's going on socially, but they need some guidance on how to figure out what's disinformation, misinformation, fake news, and perpetuating bias and stereotypes. So again, that's where educators still have a massive role to fill, and the machines are not going to take over. Okay, Skynet is not taking over. All right. Also, generative AI may not fully capture creativity and the critical thinking skills that are essential for holistic learning and problem solving. So those are kind of like the general ideas when we're talking about generative AI, the good, bad, and the newly imagined. And again, every day there's new tools, there are new apps, new products out there. Now, just so you know, as I go through the presentation, the things that I'm putting that are links and that are resources, because again, why are you here for resources? Of course. They are mostly FERPA and COPA compliant. There are a couple that I will go over with you where they have to be like 13 or older. I know we have a lot of college folks out there, so it won't be a problem. Some are 16 or older or 18 or older. So I did put some on the upper end. For public schools, we have to go by what all of those acts that are there to protect children under the age of 18. So again, I'm not promoting all of these. I'm telling you about them, and you definitely want to talk to your university or your school district about guidance of which ones that you might want to incorporate as a tool for your use. But how AI can start supporting equity and diversity and inclusion in SEL. It enables new forms of interaction, with chat bots, the ability to talk to people globally, the different products that are put out, and the way kids can engage with VR, AR now. And we're going to see a lot more of that within the next 3 years, especially. AI can help educators address variability in student learning. So again, we've all been in a classroom where you have like the valedictorian, and then you also have like the one who just is barely passing. All right, so how do we engage all of these students that are in the same room? AI can definitely help you with that. It also supports powerful forms of adaptability, which things like, the voice to text or text to voice, the idea that you can make videos. There are so many adaptive tools, leveling a text for a student. So again, if you have kids with different reading levels, you can assign a reading at their, reading level, whether they are above or below. It adapts to them, which is amazing. And there's so many sites that do it. That's not just like one. And you ready for this? A lot of them are free, at least right now. The freemium version, that's the big thing with AI. We go from free all the way up to premium or enterprise. So everything that I'm going to talk about has a free version. Obviously, the premium is going to be better, but we're going to talk about like the base model because we're going all free. AI can enhance feedback loops, again, helping give kids more targeted feedback. And this is more of a process-based thing. I will go over it. AI can't replace the subtlety. It can't replace the humanity that we need in the classroom. So it just kind of helps as an assistant. That's the way that we look at it, is as an assistant. Human is always in the loop. And it can support us educators in so many ways with lesson design, assessment design, connection to our students. We can learn so much about ourselves and sharing it with the kids. Why wouldn't we want that? All right, so understanding AI in education. So the first thing that we're capable of is personalized learning. Now I know you're all like, yeah, differentiation, personalized learning. We've been hearing about this forever. Okay, but AI can actually do this. And I can give you an example. Last year, I was teaching a junior college prep class. This particular class was really into Marvel. They love Marvel movies. They knew everything about the back narrative. So I ended up teaching a lot of literature and then comparing it to Marvel. All right, it just made it interesting for them. But how AI personalized it is for certain like skills or things that we needed to do, like vocabulary. All my vocab quizzes became Marvel quizzes. And so they were learning the words in a context that they liked, and they could get extra credit if the AI produced something that was wrong about, a Marvel movie, which of course they loved correcting it as well. So again, something as simple as like, oh, a vocab quiz, kids hate that, that we personalized it by using it through Marvel, and they felt it was a challenge to be like, well, this is technically wrong. This character doesn't have this superpower, so this sentence is not correct. And then they'd correct it for me. So it was a lot of fun. It does help with efficient grading. And again, when I've just started playing around with AI and grading, we only do it as either there's very specific directions. One, they can sometimes use it as a brainstorming partner, a thought partner, where, those kids that just can't, they stare at a blank page and don't know where to get started. So chatting with ChatGPT or starting, a conversation with one of the generative AI models, hey, I got to write this paper on Great Gatsby and the Roaring 20s. I don't know where to start. Okay. And it can start to give them ideas. So then it helps them. How does that help me with grading is when I know they're using AI, I can use AI to give them feedback. Okay. And this is on the process. It's not the final product. So again, it's a tool to insert in certain places to help students and as well as help you with time management. One of the most amazing things that AI can do is also the ability to analyze large amounts of data in a very short period of time and come up with trends and patterns that, eventually as a human we'd see, and they see it a lot quicker. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that on another slide. Now, some of the limits of AI in education so far, obviously the lack of human interaction. We did see during the pandemic that putting kids on a screen all day, not effective. It definitely affected their personality and the way that they started engaging with others, or I should say lack of engaging. So again, AI isn't going to take over in the way that, a lot of people are thinking, or the way Hollywood has kind of contrived. Again, I see it more as a tool, as a partner, even if you go back to Star Wars, like R2-D2 and like the robots that kind of like helped out and were friends, that's what we're already seeing. Okay. In 2024, it's actually happening. One of the most downloaded apps is apps for young people to find a friend or a girlfriend or a boyfriend. I thought that was a little surprising, but that has been coming out in June, that we're seeing teens and adolescents going online to either role play or to find a chatbot or create a chatbot that they can engage with. Okay, and obviously there's some benefits to that. If we're in a mental health crisis and they don't feel like they have anybody else to talk to, the fact that they're talking even to a machine allows for that very human trait of reflection and metacognition. All right, does it replace a human touch, empathy? Absolutely not. Okay, so knowing that we need to have that human in the loop is very important. And again, seeing AI as an assistant. Obviously, as I discussed, bias and equity, it can perpetuate biases and inequalities. It is getting fixed every single day. When AI first came out, and especially with image generators, and you asked for a doctor, all of the pictures were of white males. Okay, that was it. All right, if you do that now, if you go in and say, hey, I need a picture of a doctor, you will see women, you'll see, men, you will see all different races and ethnicities. So they are fixing it. Once things, a company is aware, they tend to be making changes. Which brings us to our next bullet, which is privacy and security. This is where, we have a lot of concern because, again, we're dealing with teenagers. Again, if you're in college, you still are concerned with that at 18, 19. How is your data being used and who is seeing that data? We've all seen all of the movies where, you have to basically sign your life away and we just hit accept all conditions and we don't read it. That is very problematic with AI. And that's why we also, attending summits like this, keeping up on your reading is very important, because if you've noticed in the news, there's lots of lawsuits going out between, you know, AI and Microsoft, and, you know, who's holds what information. We're seeing a push from the companies that they need better laws to protect whistleblowers, because they know that this is a big deal. You know, we can't hide where this information is going. And if we, you know, this is the wave of the future, we need to teach the younger generation, you know, how to navigate that, how to surf the wave is pretty much where, you know, we're going with that. All right. So we're going to get into now SEL, and we're going to get into kind of like the nitty gritty and some tools. Are there any questions so far that we can address? Okay, we have, I'm looking at anything in the chat. We got a lot of people from a lot of different places. Awesome. Okay, we got the session slides and the resources out there for you guys. I think we're good right now. Okay, I'm going to keep going. All right, so SEL skills and AI. All right, so personalized learning. Again, you can create a like a session just for your particular students by, you know, prompting the AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, any of them. Okay, and it can create, you can say, I want you to act like a tutor. I want you to act like a coach. I want you to act like a teacher. So you assign it a role. All right, I want you to engage the student with questions. I do not want you to give them answers, but probe them to deepen their thinking. All right, so something as simple as that, okay, increases their engagement, because again, the student feels like they're talking to someone. It's not isolated, independent work. You can see what's going on. And again, a lot of the tools I'm going to give you, when they're doing chats, they are recorded and saved in whatever app that they're using, and the teacher has access to it. That was one of the things I was most concerned with, is like, great, they're going to be interacting with this machine. I have no idea what they're saying or what the machine is saying. And that's a little scary. But giving up control and kind of seeing where this new technology takes us, we just need to be cautious. But obviously that personalized learning component is huge. Emotion recognition is something that has been going on for the past 3 or 4 years in China. I have an awesome video on the next slide. I'm not going to show it because I know 45 minutes isn't a lot and we're out for information, but the video is about 6 minutes long. It's going to blow you away. China already has AI schools built. They're a cashless society where everything is, their face is scanned. That's how they pay for everything. And they have little robots in their classrooms that the kids check in with. They come in and say, hello, I think it's called Cold Bee, and it reads their emotions. Now, obviously, that is exciting in one facet, and the idea that it can analyze facial expressions, tone of voice, and kind of see where's the kid at in the morning. It can help with enhanced self-awareness for a student, emotional regulation, and apathy development. But again, you know, can a computer really understand how a student is feeling? No. All right, so recognizing emotion and then knowing what to do with it is, you know, kind of where those companies are going. Intelligent tutoring systems like Conmigo with Khan Academy, amazing, Magic School, all of them are, those I should say, are FERPA and COPA compliant, and where the chatbots, you can create your own chatbot as an educator that's specific to physics, to English, to social studies, to whatever. Okay, you give it specific directions, and then it goes out, you send it out through Google Classroom, Canva, whatever your platform is, and then each student interacts with it. So they get a personalized tutor. I mean, that would be amazing. Okay, the video with Khan and Salman Khan and his son, it's about 4 minutes long, but it shows that Sal Khan just gives it directions like, hey, this is my son. He's taking geometry. He's struggling. Ask him questions. Don't give him the answers. And it's insane, you know, how again, that just came out about 2 weeks ago. So these intelligent tutoring systems can definitely help with equity. It can make sure that all kids are getting the same type of information, where again, you know, we have the great divide of kids who can afford tutors, who can afford, you know, all of these high tech, and then we have the kids who can't. But with AI, this, even with the free versions, they have access to it. They can create that. And again, this is exciting time where these young students can become content creators all on their own. We just need to teach them how to do it ethically and responsibly. AI can help with social skills development, with collaboration and empathy building, and we'll get into that with VR, AR, and then scenario-based teaching. And again, like I said, data analytics helps with targeted intervention, early identification of at-risk students, and continuous improvement of SEL programs. I can speak to the fact that I've just been playing around with the data analytics. In my school district, we have an advanced literacy for 8th grade. And so we had all of the 8th graders, all of their grades, their state testing scores, their recommendations, everything. And we just had a spreadsheet and we did a cutoff. All right. So we knew kind of who went in. But I just decided, you know what else could this spreadsheet show me? Because I am not a data expert at all. So I'm an English teacher. All right. So me and numbers, not the best of French. So when all I did was I went into ChatGPT, I uploaded the spreadsheet where the names were taken out. So again, keeping with privacy issues, I just kind of blacked those out. I put the information in that had no other identification but numbers. And I said, hey, what insights can you give me? Oh my, within 90 seconds, it kind of came out with, all right, your upper half of the kids are doing this. The lower half of the kids seem to be in this category. And I was like, oh my God, that probably would have taken me like 3 weeks to figure out by myself. Okay, so pretty exciting things that AI can do with data analytics and help us in the classroom, with the kids and getting them more comfortable using data. And I think that is an advantage, with AI that we're learning along with the kids. And I think that's an exciting thing to showcase and to model with them, that we're learners too. And, kind of taking away the stigma of what AI is. I just had a conversation with my 12-year-old nephew where he thought he was being all sly talking about ChatGPT. And I just kind of was like, yeah, it's a tool. And he's like, oh my God, Aunt Christy, you use it? You're a teacher, you're cheating. I was like, here we go. All right. So again, having that conversation with kids and letting them, kind of understand that, yeah, you could use it as a cheating tool. Does anybody get anywhere cheating? Okay, no. But also, kind of showing them how to use it and how it can help them and also where the gaps are. And there are a lot of gaps. All right. It is very redundant. It has pieces of information that are extraneous per se. It all depends on how you prompt it. So again, teaching those digital citizenship skills, understanding that this is just another tool, like a calculator, like a dictionary, like a translator. Okay, you don't let it run you, you run it. So when we're talking about improving SEL skills, the graphic over here is from AI for Education, which is Amanda Bickerstaff. She has amazing free webinars, so shout out to Amanda. This is her social emotional library, which she has icebreakers, SEL concepts, check-ins, integrating into other academics, conflict resolution, role play, and it's all free. Okay, so I went on and did a webinar with them, and we talked about the mental health crisis. And if you can see on the slide towards the bottom here, alongside was one of the products that was being highlighted, which is pretty amazing. And again, I'm not getting paid by anyone. I don't work for any of these companies. I am just a very avid believer in anything that can help kids self-regulate, get them to connect, get them to think critically and problem solve, about themselves as well is important. So alongside is made for students in K through 12 schools. It can be used for older, but it's meant for K through 12. It is FERPA and COPA compliant. And what it is a chatbot that's been trained on data that is all psychological principles of cognitive behavior therapy, and things that can help them when they come in. So if they can't see their counselor, let's say their counselor's out or in a meeting, they come in and the secretary, whomever's there, gives them the iPad and they can start talking to the llama. And that's what it is. It's a little llama icon. It could be like, well, I just got kicked out of class. And what it does is just prompts them. That sounds troubling. What happened? Okay. And then the kid, it can't curse at them or whatever. And again, it's all recorded. So then the counselor can come back and see what the student said. And you can see if you go to Alongside and their website, how the analytics work, how it helps with school culture and climate. And it also helps calm the student down. Sophia, it was made by Brian McClure, I believe his name is. He is a school psychologist. So he trained it on all data that is school psychology. This can come up with behavioral plans, if you are multi-tiered system of support, if you're the positive behavior, the PBIS, okay, really great resource. And a Bloom and Mario were very similar to that I just started kind of playing around with, but the two that I know best are Alongside and Sophia. The video I was telling you about how China is using artificial intelligence is right there from the Wall Street Journal. I definitely suggest that you guys watch it when you have about 5 to 6 minutes. All right, so how to build a supportive educational community. Well, first off, we've got to provide access for all students. Okay, and this can be problematic. So, in my district, everyone has a Chromebook, but when they go home, they may not have Wi-Fi access. They may not have electricity, unfortunately. I work in a Title I building, and we have a very strong split amongst our students that we're working with. But the idea last year is that we had, and it'll be continuing next year, the teachers were piloting AI and showing the kids how to use it. We didn't on whitelist any student usage, but the teachers were using it. So the kids could kind of see how the teacher was modeling it. And then if they wanted to go home and use ChatGPT on their personal device, they could. The teacher is allowing, if they're piloting AI, to certain assignments are allowed, and we're playing around with it. So it's a very collaborative environment. And again, it's giving everyone a tool and everyone to learn how to use it. Fostering those digital literacy skills are very important, especially with AI. I'm sure a lot of you heard about what happened in Westfield, New Jersey with the deep fake, where high school boys, put a photo out of a couple of their classmates, their female classmates, that were inappropriate, nudes, and it was all AI generated. So this is a whole new level of cyberbullying, of child pornography, if we want to call it. Well, that is what it is. We need to teach kids how to, handle this in this world, and how to be able to spot those deep fakes. And there's plenty of lessons out there. Teach AI, teach coding. There's so many things out there to help with digital literacy. Free. That's another thing. There's a lot of free resources out there to teach digital literacy. But it's very important that we do that. We need to teach them how to harness this responsibly and ethically. And I say those words constantly, every day, to students and to teachers. And so as soon as we start working with AI, they're like, yeah, we know, ethically and responsibly. Hey, I'd rather them, be annoyed with me than these be new terms to them. And then promoting collaboration and communication across multiple platforms. You can have different documents talk to each other. A spreadsheet to a Google Doc can create an email, which can create a PowerPoint slide. Very cool. And you don't need to be the master of all of this. This is things that you can share with your students and have them, pick out the little life hacks of AI. They're very good at it. They're very native to it, where sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to get something. They get it in 2 seconds. So again, partner up with your students and create that supportive environment where we're learners together. All right. It's not just you. Personalizing learning experiences. So again, addressing diverse learning needs. You can put them all on their own path, individualized level of text, so they're all reading, let's say, Great Gatsby, but, one is reading it on a 12th grade reading level, where it's meant to be read, and then maybe you lowered it for the kids who are slightly below. Then, you might be providing choice boards that are interactive with, Google Expedition, where they're taking a field trip. So much you can do, so many resources out there. Again, just take it slow and know that education is going to take a while to catch up, but you are definitely want to be one of those pioneers and early adopters to get kids excited and learning about AI. And it can also enhance student well-being because, again, there's a lot of mindfulness apps out there. There's online counseling resources. And again, we saw this in the pandemic. The need for therapists skyrocketed, and especially child psychologists, you couldn't find them. You were waitlisted for months and months and months. And again, I'm not suggesting that, we should use a computer, all the time to help us with our emotions. But in a pinch, isn't it better to connect with a chatbot that's been trained, especially trained on psychological data, as opposed to a kid putting themselves in isolation? So we can see these as tools, as ways of getting us to be more metacognitive, the students, to help regulate, to calm down. Why not use it? In this world where life can be difficult and challenging, why not give them these tools and these opportunities? So what do we need to consider? One of the things that'll be dropped into the chat is AI guidance for schools. This has been a hot topic this year. So most people kind of came out when they were thinking about, oh, we need to have a policy. It's about plagiarism. It's about cheating. No, you've got to think about, what do we want from these kids? There are jobs that we haven't even thought of yet that they're going to be applying for. All right. So again, think about the kids who just are in college now that were professional writing majors or advertising and marketing. All right. And then how AI is automating parts of those fields and those industries now. So we need to do this not just as a technology, but this is their career. This is their future. This is what they need to be career and college ready. Okay, if they're in college, how are they going to be career ready? We have to. It is our not just our honor and our privilege, but it is a necessity to get this information out to them, and to teach it in a way that's systematic with being a responsible digital citizen. So the first thing you want to do is do a needs assessment. So, what are you looking to do? Are we going to focus on AI just for school culture and climate? Do we want to use it for data analytics? Where do we want to start? And there are so many starting places. So you want to talk to your administration about that. You want to talk to your department chairs, your colleagues. It's like, where do we see the greatest need? And we'll start there. Trying to do everything across the board is going to be extremely difficult and you'll end up frustrated. So picking, one area that you want to focus on and who gets access to what first, good starting point. And again, that doc that is in the presentation and dropped in the chat has a lot of guidance from the states who've already put some information out. You want to think about the equity and the access of it. So again, where are your students coming from? What, do they have access at home to Wi-Fi? Are they allowed to bring their devices home, at your districts or at your colleges? What are the policies that they have? Thinking about data privacy, how the data is being used, who it's being shared with, what are the laws that at your institution that you need to abide by? Again, if you're in elementary school, very different than you're in middle, high school, or college. So paying attention to all of the apps. This is the first time, anytime something comes out, I immediately scroll to the bottom where it says privacy agreement and I read it. Okay. And and sometimes, not gonna lie, I don't understand it. So I cut and paste it into AI. I have it tell me. I say, explain this to me like I'm a 10-year-old. And it does. And then it tells me like, oh, this is really not made for children. And I'm like, oh, see, if you had just told me that, I wouldn't have wasted 5 minutes. Okay. But it does, prove to be a very fruitful venture to look at those data privacy and which apps you want to support in your district or in your university versus which ones you might want to hold off on. You want to align it to your philosophy and your pedagogy. All right. What is, your mission and your values at your institution? How are you aligning that with your students with the use of AI? Very important conversation to kind of have at the start, and also talking to the kids about, what is our belief as learners? How can this help us? What should we be aware of and what should we take caution for? And again, I teach high school, so it's really kind of easy for me to have those conversations with high school and college students. Younger's a little bit, more challenging, but there are ways to do it, and there's tons of resources to help you. And if worst case scenario, you could always ask ChatGPT and then tailor it to your particular institution. Again, looking at it and using it as a tool. Like, for example, Tone, which is the presentation maker machine or app that I'm using, helped me create the presentation. And then I went in and personalized it. I filled it in for what I knew was important. I took out any information that I thought was questionable, but again, using it as a tool where typically when I present, it takes me, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours easy just to kind of come up with, the organization, the structure, the layout, and the information. This already gave me the outline and the layout. And then I just plugged in, and added information in. So this took me, this whole presentation took me less than 2 hours to put together. So it saved me, 50% of my time. Why wouldn't I want to use it? Okay, teacher training, very, very, very important. You're definitely going to meet some resistance where teachers are like, no, they're just using it to cheat. Kids are going to be dumber. I'm not, going to be part of the dumbing down of society. Well, okay, do you want to be a teacher? Then you need to use AI. All right, you need to be aware of it. You need to understand what it does. And we need to get them on the train. I know that sounds kind of like optimistic and a little like Pollyanna, but we do. And this is something for the past year I've been working on with my staff at the 2 high schools and at the middle schools. And again, English teachers, we're the worst ones. We hate change. We want to teach Shakespeare. Leave us alone. Okay, so this idea of what do they want training on? So we just went, first through like, what are these new technologies? Why is it important that we know about it? So understanding the philosophy. And then my district picked one tool, Magic School, the free version. And then I started training teachers on how to use that. And it just became a teacher tool for lesson plans, for creating assessments, for leveling texts, for translating. I don't know if any of you out there are struggling with a newcomer population coming in. A lot of schools, public schools are struggling with that. And how AI is helping. Like it's really, really helping the MLLs as well as the ESL teachers and the teachers that have no language background, okay, working with the students. I've already discussed in depth digital citizenship. So again, this is something that you need to create a course for, or it needs to be put into certain courses. The research that I've been seeing is digital citizenship has been put in freshman seminar at high school and college, like that freshman success or seminar class and open seminar. It's been added to English classes or civics classes, like history classes. That's where it's being put in as a unit of study in K through 12. At higher learning, I'm not sure. I did hear a couple of my students who graduated say that in their freshman seminar class that they had a common read and it was on AI and they had to use AI and they were having all these discussions on articles. And then I had students who are like, no, my college hasn't said anything really about it except don't use it. So everybody's at different places with it. And then continually evaluating. Okay, so again, AI, like I said, this is the worst AI we're going to see. It's only going to get better. So seeing, as you're using a tool, is it still doing what you needed to do? Is it giving you the insights? Okay, did they change their privacy agreement? Is there a better tool available now? So taking all of those things into account when using AI. All right, so now we're getting into the nitty gritty. This is where I'm going to give you some resources and actual apps that I've used and my students have used to help them build their SEL competencies, to help them feel more included in a classroom or things that I've done. So first up, if we're looking at creating a positive classroom environment, Google Arts and Culture Expedition. And again, all of this is free. Some of the things I'll get onto later have paid versions, but these are free. You can do Google Arts and Culture Expeditions field trips. They're virtual field trips pretty much anywhere. So whatever you're studying, even if it's an author study, if it's a novel study, you can look at the setting. If it's, when I taught transcendentalism, we did a virtual walk of Walden. Okay, and then we went and did a walk around the building, to kind of get them up and moving. They enjoyed it. Again, the virtual stuff, this is secondhand nature to them, not to us. Mindful Powers is an app, a website that you log on and you have like daily icebreakers or daily like journal questions that kind of focus them on self-awareness and self-management and those strong SEL skills that they need. And Coco AI kind of does the same thing. It takes the temperature and kind of like a mood, a thermometer, and it gives the teacher analytics on, where the kids are at the beginning and the end of the period during the week. So then she can, you can use it for patterns, so like, by Wednesday, half the period, most of the kids, are not in the best mood because they just came out of AP stats. Okay, you start to see patterns. So any of those are great websites or resources to use. To differentiate instruction, there's tons out there. My favorite are Diffit and Magic School. Those are the ones that I use the most. Between Diffit and Magic School and School AI, as a third one, you can level a text, meaning that you can make it on a 12th grade reading level, an 8th grade reading level, a college reading level. So again, changing the readability of the text, which, and providing scaffold support. You can, I'm trying to think, they have so many capabilities. You can create quizzes, you can create new academic content like, hey, I need an article on ecosystems. I can't find one, or I don't know where the one is that I thought I had. It will write one for you. And again, it appears nowhere else in the internet. It is an original text, and you can push that out to your students and you can differentiate. If you are trying to teach a certain skill, and like I said, like my students the last year loved Marvel, you can incorporate their interests. So if you're having them read, you're doing skill building activities and you're trying to build their inferencing skills or their drawing conclusion skills, all right, you can create different passages and you don't have to spend like 20 minutes finding them. Another thing that it does that's amazing to me is that it YouTube summarizer, video summarizer. So, when you're looking for like that perfect 3-minute clip, but and so you spend 3 hours looking for a 3-minute clip, you can just drop the clips into Diffit or to School AI. It summarizes it for you. And then you'll be like, oh, I don't need that. Or yes, I'm going to use that. Okay, then you put the URL back in once you found the clip, and it will create questions and answers on that. So again, now I don't need to watch the clip 8 times to figure out what questions I want to ask the students. AI did it for me. So it saves me time. It gives me depth of knowledge questions, so I can ask easy comprehension questions on a video, or I can ask them heavily evaluative questions as well. So whatever level that you're on, it works. Goblin Tools is something I like to talk about for both inclusion and SEL. Goblin Tools was made predominantly for neurodiverse students. So it has a menu of ways that they think. And it was created by a neurodiverse students. There were 3 of them. I want to say they were college students that created Goblin Tools. But it is a way to help them organize information, summarize, paraphrase, extract. Okay, so it helps them with the, being more included and having tools to help with the content that as teachers were giving them. SketchWow is one of the ones that I like to use in my classroom because you don't need to be an artist, but it's like, okay, you hear these words, you're just going to like sketch something out. And then based off of your very rudimentary sketch, it creates something that's like more high tech or complex. So even if you're like the worst artist, like I am, and I can only draw stick figures, it animates it. It's so cool. All right. It's real engagement for students at any level. I did it with my high school kids and then some dual enrollment students that were for college. They loved it. Any class I've introduced it to, they've had a good time with it. Incorporating the CASEL's 5 principles for SEL. So I'm sure most of you, if you're on this webinar, know about social emotional learning, you know about CASEL, which is the collaborative for academic, social, and emotional learning. It's the gold star for it. Okay, so it focuses on self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. Those are the 5 like cornerstones. So things that help with incorporating those skills or building those competencies. VR, Selena VR, it has made a comeback for schools. Mood Kit, Mindshift, Replica. Replica is for older students. That's more college students use Replica. Nomi, Kindroid, and Pi AI. These are things that where it asks them questions. It may prompt them at certain times of day to make them, give them an affirmation or ask them a question like, why don't you take a breath? How are you feeling today? It can do things like that, or they can do scenario based and they put the VR glasses on and it provides an outlet for, certain skills. If you want to teach them about responsible decision making, and puts them in a scenario where they have to, make ethical decisions. Okay. And again, it's all recorded through the AI. Utilizing AI tools for personal learning. Modern Classroom is doing self-paced mastery learning. They're doing amazing work with it. It's all free, by the way. I'm going to keep saying that, all free. It also has a lot of professional learning. So if it's something you're looking to do a self-paced classroom, Modern Classroom is the place to go for that. Again, Diffit, School AI, ChatGPT. You can create, custom chatbots for students on all of these platforms now, which again, they can engage students in different ways as a tutor, as a peer, as a coach. So again, what are you looking to give, wanting to the students to do with the AI? Okay, what is your goal? What's your objective? What are you, focusing on? But it personalize it, and you can say like, use a lot of baseball references or use a lot of Kardashian references. I'm not kidding. You can put that in and the AI will talk and depending if you're doing voice or if it's just text, will have a dialect that sounds like that particular person. The kids really like it. They really enjoy that aspect of it. Fostering collaboration and inclusion. Again, we have more VR, Kinful VR, Super Better, which is one that kind of just came out. It gamifies resilience training where you're gamifying where they're like on a quest. And I haven't tried it with my high school kids. I showed them like the demo video, but we just kind of like talked about what they thought about the video. So that was just interesting just to have a conversation with the kids about all of these products that are coming out. Also, there is a website, IEP and Me, that was made by special ed teachers and director of special ed in public schools that puts all special ed law and school law, and that's the data set it's trained on. And you can ask questions on how to differentiate, how to make modifications. You could put in information about a student. Again, I would not put in any information like personal information, but general information if you like not their name or that kind of thing. But it will spit out like interventions or ways that you can engage them. So again, giving you another way to work with your students, and to, build bonds and rapport, because that's pretty much, what I think education is about, is the idea of connecting and sharing knowledge. Okay, it's a dialogue. It shouldn't be where it's just me lecturing down at you. That's a factory model we haven't used in God knows how long. So, moving away from it where it's a collaborative environment, it's a safe space for students to experiment and try new things. And then the last is providing professional development. There are tons of courses, again, for free. Course Hero, the one that we're on right now, has awesome AI Academy where I first learned and got my basis, my foundational knowledge. And the ebooks that they put out, the faculty club, if you haven't joined it, join it now. Again, not getting paid by Course Hero, just letting you know of the resources. Also Coursera, EdWeb, AI for Education, that's the Amanda Bickerstaff. Lots of free resources. Also, AI for Education does a lot of webinars, all free. You can register, and if you can't make the time, they'll send you a copy of the recording and the resources, just like Course Hero. So again, an excellent place, K through 12, but also college. Amanda has been doing a lot of work with higher ed and figuring out how to change or modify assessment in the age of AI. So great. And the IBM has a free course on like machine learning, generative AI. So if you're also into like coding, there's a lot of courses on that. That is not my forte. I just want to learn about AI and how it can help kids. That is my focus, but there are tons and tons of free courses. So definitely check them out. When we're talking about fostering diversity and equity, all right, so again, what are some of the resources we can use? Personalized learning, Conmigo, Magic School. What I think is pretty cool is you can have kids interact with historical figures, with authors, with characters from books. So again, it's tailoring it to them. They can ask particular questions. The student themselves in certain platforms can create their own like avatar and then create a GPT, like a chatbot themselves. Magic School, the chatbot is already created. And as an educator, you personalize it out to the students and you can group it out. So you can do like a chatbot that is all Marvel and assign it to particular kids, like in Google Classroom. You can do one that looks like some influencer or a Kardashian, send that out to another one. And again, it sounds like that's a lot of work. It's not. Okay. These platforms take all of the work out. You need to have no coding experience, no computer science experience. Again, if you're using sites that are made for, they're FERPA compliant, totally personalizes it, and it's safe. It tells you exactly, again, where the data is going or how it's being used. And it's just a great way to interact with kids on these platforms and build engagement, bring it back from, the pandemic times where, we're finding it harder to get kids to read, to engage in class discussions. Social anxiety, is on the rise. The fact that they don't feel good enough, with social media and all of the tech, we need to keep finding a way to engage them. That is our job. Language translation. Oh God, now there's zillions of free translators out there. Obviously, Google Translate is the most popular, but again, holding it back and forth. It keeps getting better every single day. I know in September there were some glitches with certain translation devices. Again, we in Jackson have a large MLL population coming in, and by October, all of the glitches were fixed. The kids would come in, they knew how to, translate on their phone, so they would go right up to a teacher. Whereas if 3 years ago, you had a student coming in that was a newcomer that had no background, they would just kind of sit in the seat and wait for the teacher to come to them. Okay, it's empowering students, and isn't that what we want? Okay, so again, with all of the newcomers coming in, all the free language translation, all of the apps that are to build language skills, there are ones that are just chatbots just for ESL students, pretty amazing. We have more accessibility tools out there. Like I said, the main one that I think is amazing is Goblin Tools for neurodiverse students. But the idea that everything can be captioned now. If you make your own videos for your classes, all captioned. You can do alternate text of graphics. If you have visually impaired, hearing impaired, they have all these accessibility tools. And it's not just Google anymore. Microsoft has it, Anthropic's Claude has it. All of your major generative AI models have these accessibility tools, and it just makes it so much easier for the kids to get their work done. Okay, and why not give them these tools? It's not cheating anymore. Whether the kid wants to type or they just like the voice to text, hey, they're doing work, they're engaging, okay, they're learning content. So whatever way that they can learn it and they can adapt it to better understand it, why wouldn't we want to harness that for them? Because again, it's building that knowledge base, it's connecting, okay, it's this idea that we're all in this together as opposed to, you know, isolating ourselves. Okay, and remembering that we're trying to create this global digital community. Looking at the aspect of
Christy, just
yes.
let's wrap up. We're almost at time. Yeah.
All right, so bias detection and emotional support we talked about. For emotional support, these are for more older students, Coco, Heartfelt Services, and Wanderer. They do have some built in Conmigo and Magic School, but not as detailed as those. These are some links about the power of VR and AR that you definitely want to look at. Again, under 5 minutes, talking about the importance of multiple intelligences and emotional intelligence in the age of AI. And I have a tool list on here, what the White House has to say. And then this is for K through 12 schools. It's a tool, Zelma, which compares test scores across the state, some more data analysis. So again, if you're someone that's in administration and data, excellent. So thank you so much for coming today. If you have questions, I know I jam-packed this with a lot of information. So if you have questions, feel free to unmute or put them in the chat and, you know, I can answer them. All right, I'm looking at some of the things. All right, so I see an example of an AI app. It's very helpful alongside. I definitely would try out alongside. That's a good one. I would like to work in the line of your presentation. Oh, yes, of course. If anybody has questions, feel free to email me. It's christyopoleski@gmail.com. I'll drop that in the chat. And I also have a website. It's just christyopoleski.com. So feel free, if you have additional questions, if you want more information, feel free to email me, reach out, contact me. I love to talk about SEL and AI. So anything that I can do to help, absolutely. Let's see. Any other questions? Let's go in here. I'm looking. Am I missing any questions, Lil? I feel like I got most of them. Got lots of people from all over the place. That is awesome. Okay, so again, the copy of the presentation is in the chat. And I'm going to put this in here. My email. But if anybody's looking to collaborate or you have some ideas or you're not sure where to start, feel free to email me and I would be happy to chat with you and to, you know, get some new tools out there. But there's a lot out there. So just keep learning, enjoy it. Know that it is a journey. It's going to take some time, but you'll get there. And as you're here already at the Education Summit, so you're already in the right place for resources and more will be coming. So just recognize it's going to change every day and we're going to be a part of that change. Thank you so much for coming. I'll stay on if there's any other questions or anything else that you guys need, but thank you so much for your time. And I hope the information was valuable to you.